established 3 decades ago, as Jaya just mentioned, to nurture creative leaders, to operate at the intersection of marketing, culture, and communication. Creativity, when thoughtfully applied, is not merely an aesthetic pursuit, but a powerful economic force. True creativity is not just born of intelligence, but of imagination. And when our imagination knows no bounds, the impossible becomes infinitely possible. Harnessing the power of artificial intelligence can further fuel this imagination. The world is changing, and so must education. This changing new order demands radical shifts in the way we develop leaders and thinkers of the future. Thus, always ahead of the curve, MICA has taken an ambitious step of setting up a new school within its umbrella. It gives me immense pleasure and pride to announce the launch of the school, School of Applied Creativity at MICA. This school is not about creativity as an art alone. It is about creativity as strategy, as a competitive advantage, as an enterprise. It is about applying imagination to real-world problems and turning bold ideas into purposeful business values. Starting from the academic year 2026, we will offer a postgraduate program in media courses, content, and entertainment. And then, of course, courses in applied creativity and innovation and creative and cultural industries. These postgraduate and doctoral level programs, these are postgraduate and doctoral level programs to cater the need of the country, the growing demand from the industry. We shall also be offering master classes and certification courses immediately. Friends, it is a singular honor and privilege for me to welcome Mr. Shekhar Kapur, my dear friend and old colleague. We come from the same fraternity. Of course, he was as the chief mentor of the school, and I'm really happy to have him on board. Thank you, Shekhar, for coming on board. We now embark on an incredible new chapter in our journey. From a school of communication and marketing to a global center for creativity-led leadership, future-making and human AI symbiosis, a place that ignites imagination. Indeed, imagination is the strategic currency of the future. And I truly believe tomorrow belongs to those who can imagine with capability, courage, and creativity. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. It's a subject that's not so well versed with. I'm not so well versed with, but I'm happy to be here and meet you guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you.
There's no reason to be afraid of it. The only thing to be afraid of AI is that the world will go ahead and we won't catch up. The time is now. AI, the people, really, Sam Altman and all my other friends there, they keep talking about $1 trillion. It's only there to scare us. If we could put a rover on Mars at less than the cost that Hollywood can make a film, we could go into those large language models. The LLMs are not as scary as they put it up. They just, at $1 trillion, India can't have it. $1 trillion डालना ही नहीं पड़ेगा. We are innovative enough. And you know what will help us to be innovative enough? AI itself, right? So the importance of AI is there. I mean, I'm on the board of Waves, and we're pushing AI. I run the Goa Film Festival. I'm starting an AI film part of it too. I think the best way to understand AI is to see what AI is not, because everybody says it's everything. When I was a kid, lived in Delhi, we used to go to Simla, Mussoorie, and Barsat hoti thi, So there used to be all these waterfalls. And I was about 13, 14, and my mother used to hate me doing that. I used to run down the waterfall, jump from one boulder to another boulder to another boulder. Now, first 2, 3 boulders are easy because you can jump to it, you can see it. But once you pick up momentum, you have to know which 3 boulders, 4 boulders, and you keep going. And I've often wondered, because I could have fallen, slipped at any time. And then at the end of it, when I looked back and said, oh my God, I survived. I didn't die, I did it. And please somebody don't tell my mother I did this. It would go on. Question is, how did I do it? When I was doing it, when the momentum was so high, there was no way I could make a logical decision. There's no way. I can actually sit there. I wouldn't have the time because you're just jumping and jumping. We got into something called the zone. The zone was, what do we call it? It was the same as extreme sports, when the extreme sports is a zone. That zone, I still call it the zone of creativity. You're getting into a zone. But I did say I was going to say what AI can't do. I did it to get into the zone. What is the zone born of? It was born of fear. Creativity is full of fear. I would not be creative if I wasn't afraid. That zone was about thrill, about the near-death experience. I was challenging life. That zone is about challenging life. And now it's true. Elon Musk can put a little chip in my brain. And it'll tell me, go there, go there, go there. You picked up, this is your speed. You go there, go there, go there. I will absolutely make sure that there is no potential possibility of me falling. I can absolutely make sure that there's no possibility of my dying. I can call my mom and say, don't worry about it, I'm taking care of your son. It'll be fine, he'll be fine. Here's the question. Then why would I do it? That's the problem. Being human is about being uncertain. Being human. I said, she loves me not, she loves me not. If the answer is she loves me, she loves me, she loves me, she loves me, I'm not being human, there's no love. AI, being human is about being uncertain. Much as we draw big charts, we do these 5-year plans because there's certainty, and then suddenly find it's not working. And AI will make sure now that it doesn't work because everything has changed. Everything has changed. Everything will change. So everything that is uncertain, everything that is unpredictable is what makes us human. We die. That's uncertain. I might die tomorrow, I don't know. So that's what drives us. And whatever is human, what drove me down is exactly, and the reason I did is what AI can't do. So as long as we remember what it means to be human, we'll remember what AI can't do. So, now let me talk about creativity. It's very simple, very simple. I work with some of the great geniuses of the world. What is creativity? It's a big question. And when you called me here to talk about and teach creativity, I would have called it unlearn, learn, unlearn, learn, unlearn, learn. The most creative beings I've ever seen are kids. We are born creative. How can you teach creativity? What's going wrong with us? You watch a child and give a child crayon, and my daughter used to cut up all the curtains in patterns. We are born incredibly creative people, and somewhere our education system has taught us not to be creative. And where did this education system come from? Actually, we came into what we call, the old gurukuls weren't like that. We've developed a linear form of education system that actually came from the West. It really helped us, yes. But it's time to let that go. It's time to let that education system go and come into what I call quantum education. I say, Shekhar is using a big word. Quantum education is बहुत बड़ी बात कर रहा है. That's nothing. Mahabharata is quantum storytelling. Mahabharata is going linear here, then the story moves around, comes back, something else happens, then moves around, comes back, something else happens. It's unpredictable. You can add things and take out things, and then you'll come back to the same thing. I think I mentioned cave 16, Ellora, right? The Shiva cave. How did I do it? Right? And why am I saying this? I'm saying this because as a culture, we're quantum thinkers. सीधा तो कोई सोचता ही नहीं है, है ना? कौन ऐसे कहता है? Everybody thinking, अरे ये क्या बात कर रहा है, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही, ये क्या बात कर रहा है, मुझे समझ क्या मुझे समझ में आ रही, कुछ बात कर रहा है. That's creativity. The unpredictability of conversation is creative. So, however much we teaching creativity is about teaching to be unpredictable. How can I teach you to be unpredictable? Well, you can by letting you free. Teaching about creativity is the teaching of the freedom of the mind. That's what's amazing. And that's why India has this great opportunity, because as quantum thinkers, quantum thought, as being unpredictable as we are, kya baat kar raha hai, kaise baat kar raha hai, I have a big friend who's doing really well. He's formed a huge company in the US. And when I talked to his investors, he said, we don't know what he's saying, yes or no. He keeps doing this, right? That's unpredictability. That's very, very creative. So let's just imagine the school being creative. The question is, where does creativity come from? Raise anybody in this room that knows where creativity comes from. So come on, let's be brave. I'm not going to put you on the dock. One person who can say, I know where creativity comes from. I just wrote on my LinkedIn today that actually it comes not from the brain, it comes from the heart. And a lot of neuroscientists disagree with me, but that's, I believe. But if I don't know where creativity comes from, how can I teach it? Problem, right? How do you teach it? I can teach it by teaching you everything that creativity is not. The only way you can teach creativity is to teach you to find yourself. Yeah, Sadhguru bhi kehte hain na, find yourself, but he's right. Creativity comes from the idea of not knowing, the unpredictability of not knowing. How do I teach you not to know? Because anybody sitting in the room probably has gone through years and years of being told that you have to know, you have to know, you have to know, and suddenly guys coming in and say, let me teach you not to know. There's a large part of creativity.
Finally, I'd like to invite Shekhar. You've been saying a lot, but we'd like to hear a little bit more about. So, first question is, who invented AI? I mean, there's an entire thesis or history of AI. You can even argue that AI was started, like for 600 years ago, because we've always had this conception about automata. So if you look at all the history, we've always, as a human race, so even if you go back to the Mahabharata, we've always looked at, can there be some kind of automation to take away drudgery, or human work? The term itself is attributed to a summer at Dartmouth College, right, where there were these, scientists who came together, these data scientists, and they said that they can solve how humans think, or cognitive processing, if they put in 3 months of work. But as you can see, the work is still going on. So Suhan, I was paying attention in class. Suhan and myself, we are doing our masters at Cambridge in AI ethics and society. So we learn these things. So I hope that answers your question as to who did it. And Shekhar, if you would like to.
सर मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ. पूछूं? बुरा तो नहीं मानेंगे ना? आइडिया क्या होता है?
Means we come out with different things.
चलिए मैं आपसे पूछता हूँ, आइडिया क्या नहीं होता? Thought idea, thought idea, creative हो गया ना? School of ideas, school of creativity एक चीज हो गई. बच्चों को आइडिया आता है तो आइडिया आप एक्सप्रेस करते हो. हमारा काम ये है कि आपको जो आइडिया आए उसको एक्सप्रेस करो. वो जब आइडिया को एक्सप्रेस करते हो तो क्रिएटिविटी हो जाता है. तो आइडिया is actually a better name for creativity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
आप जनरल क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं कि माइका के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं? क्योंकि अगर माइका के बारे में पूछेंगे तो I think I'm sitting with the best professionals and experts. I am a promoter, I'm a chairperson, but my understanding of what they do and what they teach come hai. I'm not an educationist, but I feel very privileged and fortunate to be heading this institution, because it's always good to work with very good quality professionals. तो आप माइका के बारे में बोलेंगे तो मैं ये जवाब दे रहा हूँ.
Jim, you'd like to add to it?
If you can hear me.
I'll add one more thing. जब मैंने ये position accept की तो I did mention to my husband that you want me to do this, but मेरे में इन चीज़ों के लिए कोई समझ नहीं है. I have never done this work before, And he said, no, you start, you can get the best people. And then I realized कि एक दिन my father-in-law had said to me when I was going to start some work in Ahmedabad in our textile division, and he said, you know, you've got very good taste, you should learn to go and design and things like that over there. And I said, I've never done it, Papa. And he said, you know what? You have to work with the best professionals, hire the best professionals, and you will be able to get to where you want to be. So I think it's very important that people are well versed with the subject, run the subject, and do what they have to do.
So आपने जो क्वेश्चन पूछा वो बराबर है. मराठीत बोलू का? That is better. तर आपल्याला असं वाटतं की AI येऊन सोसायटीमध्ये काय होईल, सोसायटी डिस्टर्ब होईल का, आपल्याला जे वाटतं आपल्या स्वतःच्या बद्दल ते काहीतरी बदलेल का, पण असं नाहीये. ऍक्च्युली काय होईल की आपल्याला हा विचार करावा लागेल की आपण आहोत कोण आणि आपल्याला मजा कशात येते, आपल्याला स्वतःची व्हॅल्यू कुठे दिसते, आपल्याला त्याच्याबद्दल खूप विचार करावा लागेल. आणि एज्युकेशन प्लेज अ व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट रोल टू शो दॅट मिरर की आपण आहोत काय आणि आपल्यात काय केपेबिलिटी आहे. राईट. सो टू वेरी क्विकली ट्रान्सलेट अगेन टू हिंदी और इंग्लिश. व्हॉट यू नो व्हॉट. येस. जसं फॉर एक्झाम्पल आमच्या ह्याच्यात एक स्पेशलायझेशन आहे कॉल्ड डेटा सायन्स अँड AI. तर यू वुड एक्सपेक्ट की हे शिकवताना वी विल हॅव अ व्हेरी टेक्निकल व्ह्यू की आम्ही डेटा सायन्समध्ये LLM शिकवू, मशीन लर्निंग शिकवू. ऑफकोर्स आम्ही हे शिकवतोच, पण त्याच्या आधी आम्ही अबाउट म्हणजे एक क्रेडिट म्हणतो म्हणजे 10 तास आम्ही AI फिलॉसॉफी शिकवतो. आणि त्या AI फिलॉसॉफीमध्ये हे शिकवतो की अकाउंटेबिलिटी म्हणजे काय, राईट, आपण रिस्पॉन्सिबल AI म्हणजे काय, एक व्हॅल्यू जजमेंट म्हणजे काय. कारण की फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ मॅनकाइंड आपण जजमेंट किंवा कॉग्निटिव्ह डिसिजन मेकिंग वी आर आउटसोर्सिंग टू अ मशीन. तर आपल्यातनं काढून, माणसातनं काढून आपण मशीनमध्ये टाकतो. तर हे आपण कधीच पहिले केलं नाही की तुम्ही असं जज करा की हे बरोबर आहे की नाही. हे आपण माणसातच ठेवलं ना, आपण कधी मशीनमध्ये नाही टाकलं. पण आता आपण तसं करतोय. तर मग हे कसं करायचं, हाऊ डू यू ट्रान्सलेट इट सो दॅट द मशीन बिकम्स मॉरली एथिकली करेक्ट. आणि ते आम्ही शिकवतो बिफोर वी टीच मशीन लर्निंग, डीप लर्निंग, न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स.
Thank you. Yes.
Shekhar.
Yes, I was going to.
I think if you look at the history of technology, a lot of these technologies have enabled human beings to do better. But with AI, it's fundamentally going to drive a non-linear way of thinking in the marketplace. See, historically, if you look at whether it's electricity or whether it's pulleys and any of those, they have only enhanced what a muscle or a human body could do. Whereas with AI, your brain power is going to be amplified and extended because the way you think will actually get further augmented. So there are certain types of jobs that could potentially go away. Fine, but then there are newer, higher order jobs that would actually come your way because of the augmentation of your critical thinking. These are not the jobs that we can even potentially think of today, but these are jobs that we will eventually create. Second, AI will challenge the notion of what jobs are, what work is, and some of the structures in which we have actually operated till date. A job is usually seen as in a traditional sense, as a profession, as a trade. Now, some of these will even go away from our lexicon because individuals will potentially become creators of job on the fly. I'll give you an example. I think it was said by Shekhar in the previous interaction. 2 or 3 weeks back, we realized that MICA had made an offer to an individual with a signing on bonus of $100 million. Can you imagine an individual being paid $100 million as signing on bonus? We have never heard. Find the wealthiest lady in UK probably gets paid more than what Tim Cook of Apple gets paid. So when individuals can probably think beyond the boundaries of thinking, I'm getting a little philosophical, fine, but it is going to extend and amplify brain power to a point where you can create newer opportunities in the market. I'm consciously not calling them jobs. Fine. And it's only going to enhance, amplify, extend the human brain power. I get a feeling that the level of entrepreneurship in countries that adopt AI will go up exponentially, and the traditional models of employment will actually disappear. We are in the thick of it, and therefore we don't realize it. But once you step back, you will see what's happening around us.
While you were talking, I was watching, there was outside, there's a guy who, that's his job, right? Ask him if he enjoys his job. His answer would be no. Ask him if he wants to do a more interesting job. The answer would be yes. I was sitting with the CEO of one of the world's largest corporations. He was saying the same things. What will happen to jobs? He runs a hand corporation. So मैंने कहा देख, we're sitting here for breakfast. वो एक औरत है, उसकी उम्र होगी, वो must be 40-45. She's cleaning, and all she's doing is waiting for us to leave so that she can finish her job. तो मैंने कहा देखो Jen, is she enjoying her job? And the answer was, of course she's not. I said, you've just talked about 90% of the people that we prescribe, ये आपकी job है, ये करो. AI will relieve that. AI will let go of the person that's doing a job that they don't like and go home with something and discover what they are. They discover their own potential. So I told her, I said, Jen, your job's the problem. You should watch out for your job because they won't want to work for you anymore because you give them jobs that they don't want to do. Because the job to karni hai na. AI will give them more potential. I told you, my cook, he's a Nilesh tu hai hum, khada ho ja. My attendant. He wrote the best thing for Mr. India too. अरे Nilesh कहाँ है? नहीं है वो, आ गया. उसको पता है मैं. I will always call him because he did do that. So everybody, every human being will now, through AI, when they have access to it, find what they are most creative at. Find what they are best at. तुम काम छोड़ दो ये job नहीं है. CEOs better worry about their jobs because nobody will want to work for them now if it's a job, right? Okay, thank you.
Program or the course, when they come in, we essentially talk about the tools that they can use. And I think so much is spoken about whether AI will take over the human job. No, because the tools are the ones, and how the tools can be used by the students is something that by these students who will get into work, that would be more important, and that's what we teach or we try to inculcate. And as Shekhar always says, the unknown is what is to be spoken about or to be seen. But what in the second year is in the second year of the student, they will learn more about philosophy. Thinkers. There are many thinkers who think about AI and what the society and how the society will react. And I think this is something which no other institution talks about, the philosophy of AI, the social aspects in AI. Thinkers like Harari, who've spoken a lot about economics and how financial matters and what happens to the world with AI. Now we don't really tell them what, we kind of analyze all these thinkers and put a thought or the curiosity in the mind of these students to really think about how AI will affect them, what's the human aspect and social aspect which will actually get affected by AI. So in the second year of the course, they are much more deeper into thinking, curiosity, what will happen next. So the tools are all there, the thinking bit is there, and then the creativity and what you will do next. So it's kind of a different model which we really get them to do. While other business schools, essentially, when we say school and compete with some of the business schools, they talk about using the tools. But for us, in our pedagogy, using the tool comes first and basic. And we know that the students are out there, the younger generation, have already done that in many cases. So this is how we add on. Yes. And adding to it, we do have immersions where the students will be, and in the second year, which again is very, very distinct to MICA, we have many industries associate with us. We have identified the 150 industry, go-to industry companies that we would want to work with. And more often than not, even the companies say that we don't know how AI is going to work and pan out and what is going to happen. So they give us the problem of, we are in collaboration with the companies, we are getting problem statements from them and they would, and work with the students together. So that is an immersive work that we're doing. And we also have the industry folks coming and teaching us students in this essentially the same. So this is how.
Intensely is to not just focus on, what has been taught in the past, right? So we are actively looking at collaborations with other schools across the globe. Wait for it, there will be announcements that come soon. So we are looking at international collaborations with different schools. But you saw our AI advisory board. Our AI advisory board is made up of the biggest names in the business. They're not just here in India, but they're also in the UK, in the Middle East. So we are definitely looking at internationalization. But having said that, I just want to be very clear that our perspective is really Indian. Our perspective is really, the global south. And why I say that is there's a lot for us to contribute. So if you look at how AI is being developed in all the scholarship, it's very Euro-American. And it's really time that we are the second largest, second largest market in the world and the fourth largest economy. So if you're going to develop AI, it needs to be specific, to India as well. We need to be contributing to that scholarship. So while we do a lot of internationalization, we will put forward an India-centric approach, a global south approach, which is distinct to us. Now this is really interesting for the European world and the Western world. Even the Pacific or the Far East, it's an interesting thing for them to see as well, because we are an older civilization, we have got our own ways of doing things. Frugal AI being one of them, Jugaad being the other one, right? And we're also an extremely vibrant startup community. So there is a lot of interest to collaborate with India, and so I see a rich, interdisciplinary, global interaction there that will take place.
So I think, what taking cue from Shekhar was what he said, move from linear to quantum and the Indian type of education, and I think that's where the world is also looking towards. So,
What is the eligibility criteria?
So we have the management school MICA, which is the School of Ideas. Under that umbrella, we have another school, which is the School of Applied Creativity. This will be a postgraduate. We have lots of programs, but the one that we are currently, going to open admissions, hopefully next month, end of August. You need to be a graduate, so it's a postgraduate program. The first one is in media, content, and entertainment. The eligibility is you need to be a graduate. And we will, of course, put everyone through MICA, which is that real examination which sees whether you are creative. What we're really looking for are curious minds with an entrepreneurial mindset. And yeah, we're looking forward to getting our first batch.
Yes, and we put all of this on the website, so just follow our website. We'll put all eligibility criteria there. Announcing of admissions will also be like a big thing. Any other questions?
Shekhar sir, good afternoon. सबसे पहले पूरे टीम
बना AI पे मुझे क्या जरूरत है किसी एक्टर को दे वो 70% तो वो ले जाएंगे मैं AI से कहूँगा कि ऐसा मुझे एक बहुत अच्छा खूबसूरत एक लड़की बना दो एक बहुत खूबसूरत लड़का बना दो फिर मैं देखता हूँ अच्छा ये ठीक नहीं है वो ठीक नहीं है फिर उस केस को यूँ मैं AI बना दूँ आपने कितने you may know that 50% of all the influencers are those beautiful people. They're not real. They are AI created. So now we have movie stars that are AI created. आज मतलब परसों नहीं कल आ रहे हैं वो मैं देख रहा हूँ सब कर रहे हैं म्यूजिक वीडियोस आ रहे हैं they are AI created. अच्छा how many मेरी बात नहीं सुनो how many people have met Tom Cruise in their life? Raise your hand. How do you know he's real? Why? Because you've seen him in movies, two-dimensional. You've seen him in, giving interviews, two-dimensional. Tom Cruise went to Wimbledon, two-dimensional. Aap to nahi the wahan. How do you know he's real? So in the world of AI, now we'll be creating my own movie stars, our own movie stars will go to Wimbledon. Will go to every premiere because I can do it. I can make it very real for you. So that question is wrong now. It's in the future, that's how much the world is changing and is giving me the tools of creating new people. अब हम महाभारत में कहते हैं AI कृष्ण, किसने देखा है कृष्ण? है ना, हम तो बना रहे हैं ये कृष्ण